Kerala PSC Scientific Officer Biology MCQ Immunology Part 4. Topics covered in this video: antigen-antibody interactions, strength of antigen-antibody interactions, antibody affinity, antibody avidity, cross-reactivity, precipitation, reactions. The strength of binding between a single antigen binding site on an antibody and its specific antigen epitope is referred to as options: avidity, affinity, cross-reactivity, complementarity. The answer is affinity. Which of the following is true about avidity? It refers to the binding strength of a single antibody-antigen interaction. It is the combined strength of multiple antigen binding sites interacting with an antigen. It is always lower than affinity. It does not involve multiple epitopes. The answer is it is the combined strength of multiple antigen binding sites interacting with an antigen. Which of the following reactions demonstrates the visible precipitation of antigen-antibody complexes? Options: agglutination, precipitin reaction, hemolysis, opsonization. The answer is precipitin reaction. The avidity of an antibody is influenced by which of the following factors? Options: affinity of each antigen binding site, the number of antigen binding sites, the arrangement of or structural accessibility of the antigen, all of the above. Answer is all of the above. Cross-reactivity in antibodies refers to options: the ability of an antibody to bind to more than one distinct epitope, the failure of an antibody to bind its specific antigen, the irreversible binding of an antibody to a non-related antigen, the inability of an antigen to provoke an immune response. The ability of an antibody to bind to more than one distinct epitope. Which of the following is a characteristic of precipitation reactions? Options: they are based on the formation of insoluble antigen-antibody complexes, they require a radioactive antigen, they involve complement activation and lysis of antigen, they only occur when the antigen is a polysaccharide. Answer: they are based on the formation of insoluble antigen-antibody complexes. In precipitation reaction, the optimal antigen-antibody ratio at which maximum precipitation occurs is known as options: zone of inhibition, zone of antigen excess, equivalent zone, zone of antibody excess. Answer: equivalent zone. Which of the following statements is true regarding antibody avidity compared to affinity? Options: avidity refers to the binding strength of an antibody to multiple different epitopes. Avidity is generally lower than affinity for monomeric antibodies. Ability refers to the cumulative strength of all interactions between a multivalent antibody and a multivalent antigen. Ability is dependent only on the structural complexity of antigen. Answer. Ability refers to the cumulative strength of all interactions between a multivalent antibody and multivalent antigen. In cross-reactivity, which property of the antigen is most likely to contribute to the antibody binding non-specifically? Answers. Options: epitope similarity between different antigens, high affinity binding sites on the antigen, size of the antigen, glycosylation of the antibody. Epitope similarity between different antigens.